What's going on, guys? Brandon here from NCLVapor.com. Alright, so I'm trying to talk a little softer, alright? Not because I want to sound like I'm not so enthusiastic about doing this video, or any video for that matter, but I've noticed my microphone gets a little, distorted. I'm working on getting a better one of those. Anyway, so today we're here to talk about the Pro-v2. Alright, this is a Pro-v2 cartomizer tank, and I'm going to talk to you about it a little bit. Now, when I started vaping, I got, into egos, and I moved on to the ego twist, the ego, so on, and very quickly, within the first week of vaping, I decided to go get the Pro-v2. Now, when you buy a Pro-v2, the Pro-v2's one of its kind. It's a great device. Obviously, there are several mods out there that does the variable voltage like the Pro-v2 does, but the Pro-v2 is just made so well. The customer service by Pro-vape is outstanding, and so when I think about it, it's almost like having a luxury device. So when I have a luxury device, I had my BB Novas, whatever I was putting on top of it, the cheaper tanks. And I thought, well, if I'm going to be using a Pro-v2, I might as well have something that's going to look nice on it. What's meant for it. So I started doing a bunch of research, and there's a few tanks out there, and I settled on the Pro-v2. Now, the tank options vary. Okay, now that tank is the Onyx smoke tank. You cannot see your juice in this tank. Alright, and I didn't know that when I bought it, but I purchased the clear tank afterwards, and I have that sitting over there. For some reason, I decided to use this one, and so that one I could see the juice level. Now, they have two versions of the Pro-v2, and that would be an XL and a standard version. Now, that would make it so it's longer and you can hold more juice. Now, the Pro-v2, where are you going to get it? You're going to get it from, sorry if I totally destroy this name, but it's Vaporfection, but it's spelled with an F-E-X-I-O-N, so, .com. Now, the Pro-v2 in, let's say, this configuration, visually exactly how you see it, 7145, alright? Now, I turn it around, now there's a fill screw that adds money. It's expensive, folks. It is. For a Carto tank, definitely expensive. But if you're a cartomizer user, if you love cartomizers or the Killer 705, it could be a great tank for you if you'd like something that looks very nice on a Pro-v2. Now, they have three different finishes. It's going to be satin, brushed, and polished. So you can get the matching to the Pro-v2. When I ordered it, I ordered the satin, and that is obviously not the matching color to the Pro-v2. You can just see it right there. So you definitely want to get the polished version. So the fill port on here, that adds, okay, so when I bought it, there was only one fill port option that came on the side, and that was $4 extra, I believe. Now they use the top cap fill port option, so the tank won't be damaged at all. They'll put it up here, and so that'll be $8 extra, and it's a threaded holder, that stainless steel cap with an M2 stainless steel thumb screw is what they call it. If you want the tube fill option, they have downed it. It is now $3 to put it on the tube. I recommend putting it on the top cap. Always better to mess with the stainless steel than it would be that polycarbonate tank. Now they have the mini and the XL version. This is the mini version. Alright, and they can come pre-installed with 2.0 ohm Bogart cartomizers or the 3.0 ohm. They've got several different colors. Sapphire, pine, purple, SU, orange, pink, golden, black, which is the black onyx right here, clear, and you can even get a Pyrex glass tank, 22 millimeters, obviously, and that's $7. So it's a little more expensive to get the 22 mil tank. It adds $7 more to get the glass tank. All right, so let's say you get the glass tank. and you get the top fill cap option. Now you're at $93.45. That's expensive. Now what it gets, I don't know. To me, honestly, I love the tank. I bought it because I wanted to look at my Pro-v2 and I wanted to look nice. And I've got a lot of, hey, wow, that looks pretty good. Even a couple vape meets I've gone to. I'm sorry, I gotta take a vape. Obviously, it's a Carto. It's not going to have, the same as vapor production as an RBA. But it's still a good vape, guys. I still enjoy Carto vape from here to here, and that's why I keep it. So, let's see here. You can also do a DC Carto flange option, which puts that little indent in the bottom of the bottom cap there. They put an indentation there so that you can use your flanged Cartos without affecting the height, the gap maybe. So that is also an option, and that does not cost more. There's not much to say about it, guys. It's a Carto tank, so there's not too much in the detail to go to. I am going to go do a close-up. You guys can skip that, obviously, if you want to. The time of when that will be playing, and it will be in the description. I mean, it's just a Carto tank, guys. I mean, I wanted to do this video because, obviously, I had this device, and not everybody is so far along into vaping or just jumping into an RBA or a dripper or, an Ithaca or anything like that. Some people are just pretty simple in doing, their Carto tanks. Now, obviously, this is the expensive route to go when it comes to a Carto tank. You can do it several other ways, which are much cheaper. You can, much cheaper. But if you have a Pro-v2 and you feel like luxury on your Pro-v2, it is a good tank. It comes with 3 air holes in the bottom base. 1, 2, and 3. Alright, so that is good. 3 airflows, completely unrestricted, and I think it's a tight draw. But if you were to put a Carto tank on, let's say, a GGTS, and it has an airflow that comes from the device, I think you're going to get more of an airflow than you would a Pro-v2, where you're limiting it to the outside of the 510 connection. So there is probably ways to get better airflow in Carto. Drilling out the side of the bottom of the 510 connection on the cartomizers has been experimented with, and it works. I've never done that. I've never felt like messing with it. So that is another option. I think it's a tight draw. But then again, I'm used to a wide open draw. I'm used to either a 1/16 draw out of my drippers, and so to me it's a tight draw. But I still enjoy it. I just in my mind have to realize it is a completely different style of vaping, and one of the original styles. I'm smoking a Good Life Vapor Melon Boba. Good juice. To be honest, I don't smoke this a lot. I mainly smoke a lot of other things. This is something I give to the girl to smoke. She loves it. It's probably one of the best watermelon juices I've had. And for her also. And so, I mean, if it was me, I would have 2 holes in my Carto, which you'll see in the up close. I only put 1 in it. And I will be taking this back apart and putting 2 holes in that Carto. I'm probably not going to screw it all the way in. I just want another small hole in the cartomizer so that a little bit more juice flow can come in, because you can tell it looks like it's drying up. You can't really see it right there. It is drying up. So that's not exactly how you want a cartomizer to look. You want it to look a little more moist than that. So I think I'm getting a little bit more of a dry hit than I should. Now, I've never used this juice in a cartomizer before, and that could be where it differed. I'm used to a 70-30 PG when I used this, that I used to get from the local vape shop, and it worked fine with one hole. That also depends on how big you make the hole, of course. You could try slotting your Cartos also. I might throw you guys a tutorial one day on how to do that. So let's see here. Do I like the tank? I mean, I love the tank. It looks phenomenal. I wish I would have got the polished version. I wish I would have got the version that matched, the bottom cap of the Pro-v2, because it does cover up the top cap, so I'm not too worried about that. And I have my extended cap over there, and it does look fine using the extended cap. But the variation of that polished right there and the satin here, it's not the best look. It doesn't look bad by any means. At least it turns it into a hybrid looking mod. Completely flush lines. There's no, I hate the slant. I'm a big fan of, having no slant there, because how many of my mods are 19, 20 to 9, usually my mods are 22 millimeters to 23 millimeters wide, so that slant kills me. I hate it. But that's just my opinion. So for those of you that are like, okay, it's just a Carto tank. Now, the diver by Mystique, I would almost bet that you cannot use that in this device. But you can use the Killer 705. Not in this configuration. They sell a kit called the Killer Pro-v2, the KPV2, and what it does is it makes this about 6 mils longer. It basically makes the tank section that they're making longer. They give you the top fill, you want a top fill screw for that. I mean, I guess you don't need it, but it is, I would say get it. But it makes it so the Killer 705 will fit in here, and now you have yourself a Carto tank that's an RBA, and you didn't just spend a bunch of money on this tank and decide you want to move on to the rebuildable world. You're not completely screwed. You could buy a Killer 705 or $12 Rainbow Heaven Killer 705 or whatever, and get that RBA feeling out of this Carto device and still maintain that look that you might love. So that is a plus side. I've never had a problem with this company. I've ordered a few things like some boat cartomizers. I have a little Derlin plastic tank over there that I've ordered from them. I haven't ordered a ton of things, but I've never had a problem. I've always had good shipping. They're pretty fast on shipping everything out. I've never had to, email them saying, what's going on. So, I mean, I enjoy it. That was interesting, let me tell you. Kind of hard to keep, with the difference in these drip tips, a seal on both of them. I don't know why I just did that, but I feel like trying to mix the melon and the number 8, see what it tasted like. Alright guys, well that's going to conclude my video on the Pro-v2. It's just a Carto tank. Could be an RBA atomizer holder. That's up to you. So, I'm editing the video, right, to post on YouTube, and I noticed I didn't give you guys a final conclusion. What a jerk of me. Almost said some other words, but that wasn't nice. Anyway, so back to the Pro-v2 and the different no jacket and completely different vid, but attached to the vid you just watched. I give it a thumbs up. Give it a thumbs down for the price. Definitely, it's kind of hard for me to say, yeah, great, go get it, because not everyone wants to spend up to $100 on a Carto tank. Not to mention you can get plenty of other things for that. So I give it a thumbs down on the price. The price is outstanding, I think. Sure, it is made in the U.S., but it's 2 pieces of stainless steel and a Pyrex tank. So I disagree with the price completely. But then again, you're putting it on a Pro-v2, which is $180. So that's kind of pricey too for a variable voltage mod. That's my thoughts, folks. There's the closing statement. Alright guys, here's the up close for the Pro-v2. We have this is my Carto punch tool. There are others out there. There are better ones. This is just what I use. It's what I have. It's made by the same company that makes this tank. This is the tank. They make these in several different colors. I have a clear one also, and then there's a fill screw for an additional charge you can add to that. You don't have to use that to fill it, but you can. Top cap, 2 O-rings, one to connect the tank and one for the cartomizer in there. The bottom cap, which has 2 O-rings, one in there and one needs to have the cartomizer, of course. And it's flange for the Pro-v2. There's 3 air holes in this. I drilled one out. I was in the field one day, bored as hell. So I had a drill bit in my vape box, and so I hand drilled this. Believe me, it took me all week because it is stainless steel. But anyway, I drilled that out. I don't remember what size, but I was just bored. And I got my low resistance cartomizer, Bogue cartomizer, and I'm going to be using Good Life Vapor. Alright, so to put this thing together, I'm going to start by putting the tank on like this. It's good to wet these O-rings to get a good seal. You can spit on it. Use some juice, whatever you prefer, and so I'm just going to seat that on there like that. And I'm not going to put the top cap on quite yet. I'm going to take my cartomizer, take these condoms off, and then you have this little nipple that comes in your cartomizer. I'm going to pop that out. Some people have problems getting these out. You can use a paper clip or whatever you got laying around to pull that out. Alright, so I'm not going to need any of this. I'm going to keep this one laying around. This is how I'm going to fill it. I call this the condom style fill for the cartomizer. There are several ways to fill a cartomizer. Syringe, prime puffing through your tank. I mean, there's several ways people have developed to do that. So I'm going to show you the easiest method, in my opinion, for those beginners out there looking for the easiest way to do it. Alright, so I'm going to take this cartomizer and I am going to put it in this condom. First I'm going to fill the condom up with some juice, alright? About 3/4 way, just to start. I don't know if you can see that. Alright, now I'm going to take the cartomizer, and now there's 2 ways to do this. You can go from the bottom, or you can go from the top. I'm going to go from the bottom. Alright, you see that? The juice is coming through the center and leaking, and it's going to soak down in there. Now you can just go like this. Just squeezing the bottom, and that's pulling and kind of sucking the juice in. And just keep going with that condom, just keep pushing it up. Now I'm right at the top now, so I'm going to pull it back down. That's either going to take it through the middle and help get some into the filler. Alright, I'm going to keep doing it. Look at that little. Just spit at me. Did you see that? That's ridiculous. Shouldn't spit at me. I didn't do anything to it. That was kind of rude. I haven't used a cartomizer tank in a long time. Alright, now, there are a couple ways to do this portion. I'm going to speed this up a little bit. You can sit here and wait for it to sink in there. But, excuse me. Now this is a rigged job for this device, but this is just a pill bottle, and I put a shoelace through the pill bottle. I like to put something in there to soak up juice that does fall out, or maybe just to stabilize it. I kind of poke a hole in it for the cartomizer to sit in a little bit. Now I'm going to set the Carto in here, just like so. And I'm going to spin this. That's what the rope's for, okay? I'm going to spin it. Alright. Spun. Alright, so now I'm gonna try to get some more juice in there though. So now that that's spun, I'm gonna go through the other side. You know what I'm saying? I want this to be really good primed, just because I haven't used the Carto in a while. See it bubbling right there? That's kind of cool. Alright, so I'm pretty sure that this Carto is definitely primed. Now I've got a little juice left over in there. After doing it for a while, you'll probably figure out exactly how much to put in there. Like I said, I haven't done this in quite a while. I've been rebuilding for some time now. Alright, see now I got it nice and it's just nice and wet right there on the top. Not flooded. Just kind of perfect actually. So now what you also can do is shake it again. Try to make sure there's no juice in that center tube there, or blow through it lightly. Yeah, that's good. Alright, so I've got my little tool here somewhere. Where did the tool go? Apologize. There it is. My little Carto tank tool. I've got a couple of different styles. This is my favorite. Just pop that on there. Bam. You can even use it as a drip tip, whatever you feel like. And now I'm going to pop it through the bottom of the tank and slide it up. The reason I use that tool is it helps protect the O-rings. Alright. So I'm going to put the I just realized this, guys. I didn't put a hole in it. So, not that we're taking any longer than it would, but I'm going to put a hole in it. Maybe a little bit longer than it would. Alright, so this tank, the bottom cap is pretty long, alright? Now, I don't want my hole, you can mark it, I'm just going to eyeball it. Now, I want this to sit right about there when it's screwed in, alright? So I want my hole to be above that spot, because if you punch this like a normal Carto, that hole will be below this O-ring and you're not going to get good juice feed. Alright, so then again, depending on your PG and VG level, you're going to want that hole bigger or smaller. So I'm going to put it around there. Now I know where to put it, but if you wanted to, you can get a marker and maybe just mark a little spot right there, or make a scratch with something. But I know where I'm going to put it. So I'm going to slip this in this Carto tool here, just like that. There's a little view window. Now I usually do it backwards, where my threads are facing out, because that's how you have to do it. For me, I like to line up the bottom of it right there, just barely past flush. And then I just screw this in. That's it. And I tighten it. Bam. I'm going to back it up. I'm going to do it again. Alright, that's good. Now, this gives a decent size hole. That could have been a little too high. I'm not too worried about it. Bam. Now, this does create a little bit of a dent, as you can tell. It's not the worst dent I've seen, so I'm careless. It's a Carto. This doesn't want to go on there at all. it says, screw you. That's awesome. Fighting with the vape gear here. There we go. Maybe I'm weak. I think I'm weak today. I didn't take my steroids. Sorry. Boom, 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 boom. There it is. Alright, we're in. I'm going to... Right there. So that was actually pretty much where I wanted it. Any lower and you could be compromising that dent. If you got a better Carto tool, then you'd be fine. So, once again, the tank, and now the top cap. Just going to pop that on there, and then push my Carto where I want it. Right there. Now, to take this off, because it is kind of tight, I'm going to screw on the Pro-v2 until it just spins, because that Carto is just going to spin in there right now, and now I'm going to pull that off. Bam! Carto tank assembled. Okay, now look at how nice that is. Actually, fully tightened, and I got that air hole lined up. I actually kind of like it to the side. Gives me a little bit of a dimension. I'm weird, I guess. So, now I'm going to fill it. Now, normally, you use a syringe tip in here. It is a pretty small hole. Or you can do it the other Carto tank method and, you know, not have the top cap on, put the top cap on later. But Good Life Vapor puts these really small tips on there. And this Carto tank, now this is going to be a beginning to me because I just noticed it, but it fits right in there. So I'm not going to stress about it too much. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to do it upside down like this since my fill hole is on the other side. Now, to be honest with you, I can't see. That's one reason I don't like this tank. Because without some damn good light to see through it, you don't know how much juice is in there. So that's one thing I do not like about this tank. So if you're going to choose the tank, I believe this was the Onyx finish. And I don't recommend it, folks. Don't recommend it at all. I just like it. It's whatever. Now that's enough. Alright, I've got the tank full. Putting my little fill hole screw back in right there. It's got an O-ring on that fill hole screw. I'm going to show that to you. So you don't worry about tightening it too tight, right? It's got a little O-ring. With that horrible focus job, I could make it better, but, you know, it's just an O-ring. Alright, so we're ready. Now, got this little black drip tip to go with it, you know. It doesn't look too bad. Probably not the best, but now this tank, it's done. Man, I miss this device.